The word civic engagement or the term service learning are kind of like the words love and democracy. You know, when someone says them in a room, particularly in higher education today, everyone's head starts nodding as if we all know what we're talking about.
There's a certain conception of community service that we have, and this idea that by doing something that's placing you in the same room as people that seem to be underprivileged in some way, that they require our help. I think that this trip did a good job of placing that assumption under fire.
We're gonna start backwards. We're gonna start with the last scene before the last scene, all right?
It's so much not about you're there to be helping. It's fundamental to me that teaching and learning happen together, that there is reciprocity. I have as much to learn from those kids in 4th and 5th grade as they ever would have to learn from me.
So just how much garbage do these people create? I just knew that I would enjoy it. I didn't think that I'd end up forging relationships with the children and ending up like really feeling invested in them and in their growth.
Cambodia is a very discrete, intense experience that takes place over 3 weeks, where almost everything you thought about the world is being questioned.
My name is Chris. I came here because I didn't know anything about Cambodia.
Some students have already done a lot of thinking about world politics, about the history of that particular region, and come very prepared to engage with the issues. Other students might write something like, oh, that was where the Tomb Raider was filmed, and I've always wanted to see that in person. I'm actually interested in both types of students, and I try to put together a mix that will really create conversation and growth among all the students.
I would wake up by the rooster around dawn, like 6:30. The rooster killed us all, actually. It's really annoying.
Go have breakfast at Two Dragons restaurant, bring my reading with me, and then walk to where we would have seminar.
Again, just sort of be aware of where you are.
I think the components of the seminar that dealt with politics and social justice and the contradictions that we discussed about the history of Cambodia, and it was definitely a big question about what our role was there.
So one of the beautiful things about the Cambodia trip is that it asks students to deal viscerally with the reality of what it is that they've been reading about and discussing in a seminar context. That to me is at the heart of what experiential learning is about. It explodes the sort of artificial walls of the classroom.
Then from the seminar, we'd have the quickest hour lunch you could ever have in a country that doesn't have fast food. So you'd be eating your food as you're trying to go to either the orphanage or the school.
On the van ride on the way to the school in the first day of teaching English, we were all looking at each other and trying to write out possible syllabus for classes. And once we got there, all of that definitely just fell by the wayside, and we ended up winging it. We somehow managed to do it, and I felt like it was a pretty big success.
I started off going with the group to the orphanage first. The best part was playing with the kids. They're amazing. You know, the minute you get out of the van, they love you. Like, they don't know you, but they love you, and they'll give everything to you. I love this guy.
It became really personal, and we found that the kids were really connecting with us.
We made mattresses because, as far as I know, they were sleeping on the ground.
With the mattresses, I was very conflicted with that. You know, all they needed was the money and the fabric, and they could have done it in 2 days. The house mothers were trying to teach me how to sew. And over here, you pedal, and you have to have rhythm. And my rhythm is terrible. So, like, half the time, I'm, like, breaking the machine. And so they were, like, yelling at me, and come on, and I was just not getting it. And then they were laughing, and I felt like they were kind of making fun of me. I was really uncomfortable, because all of a sudden, the roles are reversed and we don't know how to deal.
I think both the mattress making project and the English teaching were explicitly set up to invite students into a space where at first glance it was about giving. But what ended up happening in that relationship is the very people who were supposedly on the receiving end of the mattresses ended up being the people teaching my students in a way that made it clear it was not about who was giving or who was receiving, but an experience that allowed relationships to be formed and conversations to be started.
One of the things we do know about public education is that a kid needs a community from morning until evening, and that after school has become this huge part of every kid in America's day. And for a college student to be involved in the very cruxy problems of the education system is huge and important. And central to a liberal arts education is having a vision that you give back to your community. Eugene Lang has said many times to the college students that the single most important thing that he did as an undergraduate was work with students of need in the tenements in Philadelphia, and it seeded in him his lifelong mission of service.
Every child just wants attention. So if you put a spotlight on them, they're gonna shine. They're going to excel, and they're gonna love it.
My name is Tyler, and I like about I Have a Dream. It's fun, and
for 5th and 6th graders, they're pretty intimidating. They come from somewhat pretty rough neighborhoods, but they're all so friendly. They're so excited to be there. They're so excited to see you.
well, my name is Mayune. My name is Gregory Thompson.
There's something really amazing about these particular dreamers. We met them when they were very young, and to watch them grow up has just, they keep getting better and better every day. They're really becoming amazing human beings.
I have a huge passion for connecting drama and theater with writing and with literacy.
All right, you got it. Okay, so 2 more minutes.
The number one goal is academics. We really focused on tutoring, helping them with their homework.
Above everything, it means they are reading. They are reading scripts and having to remember words. And I think that in itself is a helpful academic skill.
We tell them every day, you're gonna go to college, you're gonna succeed, nothing's gonna stop you, nothing's gonna get in your way.
You do this circle, it doesn't have to be a million in this.
Many Lang students who aren't even theater students come to I Have a Dream, and they'll come as a freshman and walk down the basement steps of PS 33 and be hit by the cacophony of noise and chaos. And
it's not bad chaos because it's the sound of children having a good time. And if you have a heart, then that's a decent sound to be hearing.
All right, kid, but don't say I didn't warn you. Hey, look, another quarter. Ah!
There was the constant questions throughout the whole trip about what work are we doing here. And at the end of the day, I don't know what I gave. I know I received a lot, more than I would ever dream about receiving, in the sense of intellectually, what I learned, relationships, but what I gave.
The study abroad course is really structured to bring these questions to the fore. And it's not about resolving them for the students. It's about getting the students to a place where they can begin to ask them. The journal was the central component where students could begin to engage the meaning of these things for themselves. So we take time throughout the course to reflect on the work that we're doing. And one opportunity like this was the sunrise at Angkor Wat. We spread out with our journals and just sat in silence as it gradually became lighter. And you could hear the sounds of the birds and the monkeys growing in proportion to the light that was around us. What happens on a trip like this is not only about what can be explicitly designed by an instructor, but it's about creating opportunities for students to bond with each other, just to relax and have fun.
Why is it not? No, you really want
Theater is social change. Social change happens in this dynamic between a group of people. It was such a privilege to be there in this vibrant, wonderful community, but the elementary school students needed to come to the college. They lit up having the opportunity to perform where their Lang mentors, or as they're called, their new school friends, go to college. So joyful to have Mr. Lang there.
Mr. Lang is eating pizza. Mr. Lang.
A lot of times you see these programs that are funded by these big names, but you can't put a face to the name. Seeing the Eugene Lang, watching a program that he started, I think we're all amazed that he's still so involved.
You guys remember everything?
Right before they're gonna go on stage, you know, the jitters, and you're giving them high fives and you're going over lines and you're just reassuring them that they're gonna be fine.
If I can be with these kids until they graduate high school, I will. As long as you allow me, as long as I'm healthy, I will be there for these kids.
I don't think I can ever see the way like I used to when traveling to other countries. Like there's no way I could go and be the touristy type. If I'm gonna go, I want to be completely engrossed in the culture. I want to like learn from the culture itself and the people.
I love what I've done there so much and what it's brought to all of the different facets of my life. Just the way that this sort of work connects people.
I think experiences that are difficult really can be transformative. And that's why the liberal arts are so important. You're not just training someone in a skill, but you're actually asking them to become a broader human being that has empathy.
I think one of the things that makes the new school an exciting place to be is that there are a variety of opportunities to engage with the world. I think what lies at the heart of all of them, though, is this instinct to give students an experience that will begin or further a lifelong reflection of what it means for them to be a part of a global community.